They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So that you said that they put millions of my actions. Should a murderer go to jail for murdering? Absolutely. Should a thief go to jail when he steals? Absolutely. Should a robber pay back the money he robbed? Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did? That's right.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacle stand in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never a home, only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe the slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting, the trail of my tears is countless. The fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Crack in the sky, nuclear missiles will make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be, slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cage and safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash, get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
Look, ain't no remorse in my bloodstream. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember YAHANNA's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in his body, you fit the Lord, fuck the cocktail. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is served cold, I just hope they making oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in a world of mad shooters. There was design fire for our babies to pass through. In the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
Right, clap it up. Hey, Shalom,
Yes, Shamshukta. What's going on, priest?
Not much. All right, welcome to our podcast, Conflict Zone.
That's right.
How we look at conflicts that affect our people, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right. Now this week we're looking at could trade war bring back cottage industry. You're familiar with that term?
Slovakia?
The word cottage industry. You're familiar with that one? With that term?
It's sounding familiar, and that jog my memory a little bit.
Yeah, that must say familiar because um corporations and what they call it um globalization and with corporations has damaged destroyed the cottage industry. Cottage industry is basically where you have mostly small manufacturers,
Okay.
which is oftentimes like localized.
Okay.
So you'll find that within cottage, all right, one thing that used to be made in cottage industries, which gets seriously affected by globalization and corporations. Take, for instance, the tailors and dressmakers and shoemakers. First time they used to have, you could have go to the shoemaker actually make a shoe with them.
Hmm.
Yeah, what you do now? You got the shoe store and you pick up one shoes that was made from China, all the way in China.
Right.
Not that you used to have, you didn't used to have imported goods. Of course, you used to have imported things, but it wasn't on them large scale. You would go to your tailor to make a pants. Even though you could go to the store and buy a pants, but you would go to the tailor and make a pants because it was somewhat cheaper. The store one oftentimes used to cost a little more. But with the advent of, say, China, China has made everything way cheaper than how you can produce it in your own country.
Hmm.
And that now has destroyed what we would call cottage industries. Now, um, the incoming president, Trump, he has vowed to in a move to save like America, because as much as they have the largest economy in the entire world, cottage industry within America has been destroyed as well.
Hmm.
Right. And one of the groups of people most affected by the destruction of cottage industries, believe it or not, is blacks, Hispanics, and natives. We used to have a lot of tailors, dressmakers, shoemaker, and restaurateurs. Remember the local restaurants? Well, Trinidad is still big and which is one thing I like about with Trinidad. Trinidad is still big on um, foods, you know, cooking and thing.
Right.
But you find that in Jamaica, I want to talk about cooking. I realize in Trinidad there you have local restaurants.
Yeah. Well, a lot. Hmm.
Right. What we have out here mainly is cook shop, basically.
Right.
So each community used to have basically at least one restaurant.
All right.
Yeah, because when people used to travel, it's either you carry your food or you go without. Or you have people who used to cook and offer food to passerby. And
Hmm.
I'm not talking about way back in the days.
Hmm.
The passerby thing might be a little while back. But restaurants, local restaurants used to be a big thing. Even 20 years ago, it used to be 20, yeah, at least 20 years ago, 20, 30, not even 30. So I mash up the restaurant now. Fast food.
Mm.
And where does the fast food come from? Not from, I know, we don't own them. How much local fast food restaurant Jamaica have?
Mm.
Either two or three, right? But I realize, like in Trinidad, man, when it comes to eating out, people, you know, and it has to do with the economy as well, because the cost of eating out here in Jamaica is
Yeah,
growing and it's expensive.
ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous, man. While in
Mm.
Trinidad, you eating out might be even cheaper than cooking at your yard.
Well, basically, how it will be, it kind of weighing in a balance now, because most of the time it's like, let me say you're on the move now, or you're hustling as we just say down here, right? So
Mhm.
while you on the little slavery or whatever, depends on the time. There's it's like a way in an option now. So now it go have to do with your income where you're earning, if it making sense, buying or it make or cooking now. So if it weighing out in that balance, because now you might check it like for the week, right? You might say, hey, this week if I had a cook lunch, it might take away on my rest, right?
Right. And your time.
You know, time. But if I
Hmm.
buy, if I buying lunch now, I weigh the option. So let me say for the week, let me say I might spend, let me say about 200 in lunch.
Right.
Then it might cost me cheaper, or it might give me rest time. Better I buy lunch instead of cooking now, right? So, or I might just cook once a week or twice a week, and the next 3 days on a 5 day like work week now. The next 3 days I might buy lunch. So it's that how it is go here now. So it's like a way
Right.
now. Yeah.
Right. But with our situation now is, yeah, you work out, so you would expect to buy the lunch, but
Right.
the cost for those restaurants to produce the lunch
Mm-hmm.
is so much that for them to sell the food at the price that is going to enable them to maintain themselves, pay the staff, pay the bills, pay their taxes, it's like it don't make sense.
Mm.
You could be operating at a loss, but there was a time when you own a restaurant, you can send your children to school, you can pay your bills, you could
Mm-hmm.
go and do a little building, put up a structure where you can go sleep in find a house. But who is making those kind of money now? The fast foods.
Right.
You
And
look you look on the fast food lines when it comes
mhm,
to Friday evenings.
right. And so like if I mean, and like that now, like back home here now, what let me say brothers and sisters will do. You see, like if they're doing that, they would make the food and like sell out at a vehicle. Probably have like a vehicle, they
Mhm.
customize it, and make food, and as long as they obtain like a food badge, they would be able to move around now. Different locations, different, let me say, sites, or,
Mhm.
or, or like let me say close, they would pack up, let me say close to them food outlet,
Mhm.
right? So it's like you have an option now. So you buy the food, from your people, or you go to the restaurants and them. So they would actually pack up, close. And that is why, like now, what they want to do now, they want to implement that, if you don't really have, let me say, or your business not register, you wouldn't be able, to do any kind of commerce or any kind of business. So automatically they want to Because now when you do that, you don't pay taxes, eh? You don't pay taxes.
Right.
So now they're finding now the finding now like a hustler now surviving, right? So now they want to let me say try to cut down on all of that. But now you doing that now is like you're bringing more, let me say, more pressure on them, because now the person with the restaurant or wherever fast food outlet, they are the ones now who would be, pushing that and saying that, hey, we have too much of vendors on the streets.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So let we try to eliminate that. If they don't have no business, so now it show you now that they would be rolling in their, as we say, in their circle. So the communication with whoever on top, hey, let me try to cut that off. If all don't cut that off, then hey, yeah, we're going on. We go stop, or we go raise. The prices are this, or the prices are that. But the thing with their prices now, their prices now with be away in a balance. Because remember now, when they raise, let me say, like food stuff or whatever, they would use the opportunity and keep their prices at a certain price, right?
Right.
And the hustler on the street, you would have to, try to keep up. Just as you're saying. So
Right.
the amount of money you're going to the grocery with is like way, but I can't compete with them. So my price will be higher than theirs. So now the average person on the street now, let me say the hustler who they be making a 9 to 5, they would
Mm-hmm.
be there, they would have the opportunity now to weigh their choice and say, well, here what's going on. I'll go by this restaurant because their price never change, while
Mm-hmm.
your price fluctuating because of the, as you say, the escalation in food prices.
Exactly. Right. Right.
So now what that do? That put, let me say, a strain on you now. So now let me say you cook a pot, and that pot, you might make, let me say, I just using a figure, $100 off it. But
Mm-hmm.
now the pot you cook now, you ain't making the 100, you're making 60. Now
Right.
it's like, just as I say, to pay the person who, assisting you, which 90% of the time just be like your relative or your family, right? Because nobody don't really go out of pocket unless it's a restaurant to hire. So
Mm-hmm.
the other people who cook in here now, it go be like, like your family. You might have an aunt, you might have a sister, might have a brother, cousin. So you kind of keep it family wise now. Other than that, if you open any business or any side restaurant or whatever, you're hiring now, it will be like, that when you hire like a cook, somebody
Mm-hmm.
could cook, right? So, but
Right. But
mm,
there was a time when, out before the fast food them get so prevalent. People used to see them way with them little cookings and thing.
mm-hmm,
But I mean, remember they used to have the fried fish, man. But the food industry is just one of the cottage industry. When you look at dressmaking, tailor, that's another
yeah,
one that get hard hit
right,
by globalization and thing there. And
mm-hmm,
what I said again? These multinational corporation,
right,
right? Because all right, first time when you get a
mm-hmm,
jeans used to be like, well, it used to be more expensive buying a jeans than to make a tailor-made pants.
right.
Mm. But to make a tailor-made pants now, yeah, can run it run you more than if you just go
Yeah.
buy one little China-made jeans.
So you see,
Mm.
yeah,
But look at when the cottage industry get damaged. Look at what your damage now. Your
mm,
damage Remember now, when you make a tailor-made pants, the material, the cloth is not made in your country. It has to be imported.
Right.
Oftentimes the threads are imported. And then again, imported from China again.
Right.
But you know can't buy the material which is imported from China,
Mm. No.
sit down and make it and sell it back at a price where you can pay your bills, and if you have one little one somebody working with you and
Mm.
send your children to school, cover your expenses and still make a money, or even if you balance out.
Right.
The man and the ordinary man now, it's cheaper for him go just buy the jeans when make already, and the jeans is made in China.
And so
So
like like what our tailoring is right now. Tailoring right now is like altering. So now it's like you buy jeans and
ah,
and they would alter the jeans
all tight
to
for you.
suit the suit now. So now that the step that tailoring is in right now. So it
Exactly.
is like altering right now. So now the tailors are not bigger now because when they go to check it out, if I go to let me make something for you, the money that I go be spending just as you say and to do this, or if I had to buy cloth or to carry it by a tailor, then now it is like nah. So most of the time, like where you go find a tailor making is like probably a suit or a garment,
Mm.
something where where you win really get although they're trying to copy everything, ready made this, ready made that. So because now everything kind of evolve to the point where you yourself can actually do certain things now, but it's just the time. It's just the time to invest in it. And if you're really doing something, it's actually not for everybody but for yourself. So now, like, so you were saying, hey, I taken up tailoring as a trade before, where people say no better you had to teach your children them how to do this, how to sew, how to cook, because now it is like something now where we let me say we lost tracker. It's like the most I go drawing me back to really not being dependent on doing certain things, and really actually this is something that we always used to do, because even when we read concerning like with the proverb 31 woman, what she used to do, she used to do basically everything that we're speaking about here right now,
So
right?
even she get destroyed by the thing,
Because
by the
now,
corporations.
right, because now what she started do now, she started be dependent on it. Now you know what happening. Now it pushing she back to learn that, to learn that because why it pushing she back to learn that? Because now if I continue, let me say to help or keep on funding this industry, what will happen? I will become,
You going to be destroyed.
you're going to be destroyed. You're going to be destroyed. You're going to be broke. But now you know what I had to do. I had to learn back the same thing that I used I neglect before, and support. So now again, as I say, everything is like a balance, and everything is like the Lord kind of bringing me back, or pushing me back to the point, where we have to do it. We have to do it. So it's like without choice. And this is why we say, again, when you open them records and them, it show you when you think you have a choice, really and truly, Lord let you know, hey, your choice is really these instructions here. Because I is your father. I go
Mm.
choose fear, because really I realize if I do really choose fear, just like any father, this society would push children to believe, and making them believe that, hey, you do you can choose this or you can choose that. But now, as a parent, now you would push your child in the direction where you see it fit for them, because now you actually see the, as you say, the state of the economy, the state of everything running. So it's like, hey, now don't do this, do this. You push them towards this, and that why you see these other nations now with be what would be, moving ahead, and order to say that they thriving and they're doing this. They just because they understand certain things and they understand who he is. That the most important thing. It's like, hey, if I keep this people from doing this, then I'll be better. Let me say to try. Yeah, keep them on the plantation. That I just say, like, just as I say, the way you call it, the cotton what?
Cottage industry.
The cottage industry.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get a definition.
Right.
Because if that don't come back,
Mm-hmm.
then trust me, we as a people not going to make much project progress in business.
Mm.
All right. So a cottage industry basically, is a business or manufacturing actually carried on in people's homes. Yeah, if you remember back in the days, you used to have a Chinaman have him in like a bakery or something, and him live for the
Right.
same premises.
Right.
This is an example of cottage industry.
Mm.
The black man we have him shop and him live on the same premises.
Mm-hmm.
Cottage industry.
Right.
So once you doing it within the locality and the community,
Mm-hmm.
that is it. But in the advent now that it being destroyed, it's not one of the reasons why you see crimes going up.
Mm.
And you wonder if your government can do anything about that. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Trump want to him not put it that way, but he wants to do when him bring the tariffs and thing. Him trying to save America's one.
Mm-hmm.
And what he want to do now is bring back, because the same thing that used to destroy us, just like how the Moses say, go and take the cup of trembling out of our hand and put it in their hand. The
Right.
same thing that used to destroy us is now creating hundreds of poor whites.
Mm-hmm.
And them realize that now. So Trump is hoping that him can reverse it. But in trying to reverse it, they're probably steering down the barrel of the new World War III. All right,
Right.
listen to this DW. This is a German based new international news station. Duschweiler. Something Duchweiler. I don't know. I remember I pronounce something like that. It's a
Mm.
German based one.
Plans to impose 25%
Tell me if you're hearing it.
tariffs on all imports
Yeah.
from Mexico
Come on.
and Canada when he returns in January. Trump blames America's near neighbors for doing too little to prevent the flow of migrants and drugs into the US. Trump has threatened to hit Chinese goods with a 10% tariff on top of existing levies. He campaigned on the use of tariffs to boost US industries, but economists have warned that American consumers would end up paying the price.
All right, so that is the first part of their coverage that they do with this thing.
Right.
In the first, well, for you to be doing that in the beginning of it, what you're gonna have is, yes, you're gonna have SHALAM to Adolphus Last and Nazam Hannah, Joel.
Right.
Salam sis, is it a female property? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And brother. All right, so in him doing that, still going into a trade war with China, because trade wars, when you look at World War One and World War Two, that was the start of what lead you to World War One and Two.
Right.
The country start to impose tariff for the next country, the next country's goods, right? Like when Japan banned Pearl Harbor, America now shut out use its power in what you call the oil conglomerates, the organization, OPEC.
Right.
I don't remember if the name OPEC at the time, but America used their power now to shut out Japan out of getting oil to purchase, because the Japanese economy was coming up and they were producing a lot of things and things. So they knew that if they can't get oil to buy, then they can't produce.
Right.
So they shut them out. And then in response now, Japan pull a Palestinian thing. You see, like how Palestine went into Israel and kidnapped the people and reap havoc, knowing that they cannot win a war with Israel. The same thing Japan did. Japan just get vexed and go bomb Pearl Harbor, knowing that America going to retaliate, and if they might can't manage America.
Right.
But out of vexation they do it. So it's a similar thing that you could be looking at with what Trump want to do. Let's listen to some more of this.
Now, trade is just one of the issues Donald Trump has with China. DW's chief international editor, Richard Walker, takes a wider look now at what a Trump 2.0 presidency could mean for broader US-China relations.
Donald Trump is back, and he's promising a return to an America-first foreign policy. And that means taking on China. He's chosen two hawks for the big jobs on this, Marco Rubio for Secretary of State and Mike Waltz as National Security Advisor. Both see China as the historic threat to US power.
So what can we expect? Well, let's take a look at the two biggest issues, the military situation and the prospect of a trade war. Military first.
Xi Jinping is now well into his second decade in power. China is getting stronger and more aggressive. In the South China Sea, its Coast Guard has harassed vessels from the Philippines, and it's been threatening Taiwan with air and navy drills. Either of these flashpoints could start a war that drags in the US.
There is a risk, and a growing risk, of a use of force by China, either in the South China Sea or in the Taiwan Strait. We know from the US intelligence community that Xi Jinping has told his military that it must have the capabilities to take Taiwan by force in 2027.
Trump does not want that to happen while he's in charge.
He has said time and again that he's going to prevent wars from happening, and that wars wouldn't happen under his watch. That's where he criticized Joe Biden. I think that resonated with the American public.
So the US military will need to deter Xi Jinping from making moves on Taiwan or the Philippines.
And here the US has a problem, a really big problem. To explain that, let's take a look at a map.
On China's east coast, there's a little island just off Shanghai. This is where you find the Jiangnan shipyard. It's a dual use civilian and military side. It recently launched China's newest aircraft carrier. The US can build 100,000 tons of ships, naval and civilian, every year. China can build 23 million. The US may have the edge in terms of quality in some areas, but on that front too, there's little doubt that China can catch up. This is now Trump's problem, and he won't be able to fix it on his own.
Oh, it's a very, very serious.
All right, so that's one thing, shipbuilding. So, you know, you need the ships to move your goods after you make it.
Right.
And China is building, can turn out more ships per annum than what America can turn out. So America is really steering down the barrel of the Chinese upcoming economy.
Right.
And Trump, they are hoping that Trump can reverse that. But when you look at Revelation 18, let's go into Revelation 18, verse all right, let's start at 2. It says, and he cried. You married for me?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Revelation 18 and 2.
2 others, sir. Right.
The book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 2. Right. That's yeah.
It's on the screen if you can see it.
Yeah. Now, I'll go read it off here because it's a little small.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right. The book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 2. And he cried with a mighty, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hole of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Right. So talking about Babylon being fallen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're going to skip down. So, all right. Drop down to say 17.
The book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 17. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors, and as many as strayed by sea, stood afar off.
Right. So, you know, the shipping industry going to get licked. Now, China making so many ships, but those ships, according to Revelation 18 now, won't be able to sail into Babylon. Right? So that's another reason for war right there. 10% tariff. If China ship $100 billion worth of goods, for argument's sake, because I think it's way more than that. 10% of that is what? $10 billion. So even though it will be charged back to the American consumer, which means, boy, people in America going to have to now look for more expensive things under Trump.
Right.
Initially, that's what it's going to be. You ever hear them say, you know, I forgot the term what they used to use, but basically saying that you have to, them say suck salt through wooden spoon, which symbolize a little hardship to achieve something. So the American consumer now paying more for the same things them that can produce in the cottage industry. What it should do and what they will be banking on is that it would actually bring back some of the things that can be made locally. So now, rather than to buy a pants that was made in China, you're going to look and say, you know, it's cheaper to go back to the tailor.
Right.
But guess what? Guess what is the next side to that now? You already kill out the tailors. So how many tailors leave now where can actually pick up the slack?
Yeah.
But you run the risk of damaging your country, your economy, your social stability with these international corporations wiping out your cottage industry. Because when you remove those jobs from these people, take anyone, when we say tailor, of all the communities right across the islands, here, Trinidad, anywhere in the Caribbean, and we're only singling out the Caribbean because that's where we are.
Right.
Take any one of the countries, count all the communities that you have right across the island, and every community have at least 2-3 tailors.
Right.
In the cottage industry days, they used to have more than 2 and 3. But if you say if you look and say, all right, they have at least 1 tailor. One tailor not going to be able to pick up the slack still, you know, but what it will force him to do now is to take on recruits.
Right.
But you now banking, and this is what Trump probably banking on, and which he's probably going to have to explain to the people as far as the people are concerned, especially grassroots people. They won't start say, hold on, man. Since you come in, everything just get expensive. Because now to jumpstart the cottage industry, where the money going to come from to jumpstart that industry? Is it that you're going to give grants to them? Banks certainly not going to lend them no money. Yeah, man. The banks now in a business lending right now. Banks are in home and motor car lending and credit card.
Right.
So they might give a credit card and say, all right, use that and go jumpstart your thing. But we all know credit card is expensive. But anyway, the shipping is just one of the things. So there are some other things what they want to pick up. From the same video.
This problem, and the United States, in order to get this right, is going to have to also rely on Japanese and Korean allies who are.
That is talking about tariffs. Now, further down now, let's see.
Greater trade with China.
Okay, let's pull the pieces together. And on both the military and tariffs, Trump could use some help from allies.
As we heard, catching up with China's navy could be impossible without South Korea and Japan. And taking on China over trade would be much easier with Europe on the side.
So can Trump go from America first to America plus friends? That could be a stretch for a man who's been such a skeptic of alliances for so long. We'll soon find out whether with challenges this big, he decides there are deals to be done this time around.
And for more, we can speak to Ali Wine. He's a senior research and advocacy advisor on the US and China at the International Crisis Group, and he's joining us.
Atlantic relations and trade-related matters. Welcome.
Hey, I'm Sophie, and I'm one of the AI voices from Revoicer. My voice sounds so natural.
To DW. What do you think? Is a trade war coming to America's friends and rivals?
Well, at least it's going to be rather conflictual. And why I'm saying this is because we have the experience from the first Trump administration, 2016 to 2020. And we also know about, and we just heard that also in the report, that he's just not a very great fan of trade. And that on the other hand, he's a pretty big fan of tariffs. So he is, with regard to trade, he looks at trade balances. He looks at who has a trade surplus vis-a-vis the United States, in which products, in which sectors, and he views that as a sign for unfair trade practices. And we know from the first administration that he is not hesitant to implement tariffs to level the playing field. And he has already said that he's looking for a 10 to 20% base tariffs on all imports from the world.
Okay, but the US already has a free trade deal with Canada and Mexico. Can Donald Trump just throw 25% at them like that?
Not easily, at least, but he can threaten with this. So in his first administration, he renegotiated NAFTA. So the previous agreement was called NAFTA. The current one is called USMCA. As we know from the Trump administration, and what he wants to do is he wants to...
All right, so the next thing they want to tariff Mexico and Canada. All right. A lot more information on that tape, but we'll leave that tape for, at that point and get into some more revelation on what he's talking about. Revelation 18, because this actually the same 18 that we read, we talk about great riches come to naught. You see? Verse 17.
Right.
Like we said, Babylon is the richest country on the face of the earth. The richest country, the greatest country that has ever, the only country that are going to be able to be richer and greater than America is the kingdom of heaven. Right. But in a quick succession, verse 17, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. Right?
Right.
And like we said, these trade wars often lead to physical war. So Donald Trump believed that he can, go in a big trade war with China. And, as a matter of fact, part of that same news says that him looking at putting a 10% tariff on imports from every country across the world. So pretty soon we won't be able to go to America for cheaper things. Wow. Yeah, so maybe what we in the Caribbean here are going to start look now is why rather than looking for barrel to come from America, you better start look for send barrel go to America now. Because the price of everything there is gonna go up.
And so like you see what you say there? See something very, very heavy and there's nothing light now. Because now imagine this. You had to send food, let me say from the Caribbean to America, right? But now is the trade-off. the trade-off will be the as we say, the greenback, or Uncle Sam, as we say. Because now what they're trying to do now, that they're trying to have in the Caribbean a lock on Uncle Sam, and it must come through certain avenues now. So instead of because just read, as I say, a little snippet on thing, like down in Trinidad now, is like, you know, the saying like family members care, you know, just give it who come from foreign or who come from outside, can't just give a US just so it must come through a source. Well, you know, people will kind of, as you say, ball at how them gonna know that? It just show you how they're trying to control or use control measures, especially with concerning with that. So like that trade-off, like we say, you sending a barrel to outside based on how the food crisis running is like now in order for you to send that, how you sending that? You must have one. Because now at all them shipping ports or wherever you're doing, you must have one, you must have US. You must have, as you say, Uncle Sam to do that. And we're getting Uncle Sam. How you getting it? How you obtaining it? It must come through. It must come through that source.
And you won't be. We know, so we producing things here in the Caribbean and send to US.
Mm-hmm.
You know, steering down the barrel of a 10% increase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look, that 10% means the person who is importing your goods, he's going to have to find 10% more monies, which maybe he's going to have to borrow that from the bank.
Right.
So that's interest now. So he's going to have to mark up his goods not by 10%, you know, but by more than 10%.
Mm.
Yes, because that 10% increase now put him into some debt that he have to find to clear the thing there.
Mm.
Or he might just look and say, you know what, the things that I used to buy from you there in the Caribbean, no bother with it.
Mm-hmm.
We can buy it. And then him start to look at his local farmers and his local producers and try to bring them back to buy from them instead. But if you remember now in the destruction of Babylon, you know, the missiles that is going to destroy Babylon don't come from within, you know. It is shot from outside. So that's why I say now him not into wars, but him probably steering down the barrel of some countries who gonna get vexed, and out of vexation just pull off a Palestinian style attack on him.
Right.
Just out of vexation, they just fire 2 missiles over there. You don't say I'm gonna try probably wipe you out. But when you look, you see that you are dying, and you say, oh, I'm only dying because of what he is doing. You just fire 2 missiles and appeal myself. Do anything you want to do. You understand? But when you have several countries doing that same kind of Palestinian attack on you one time, I don't know if you can manage that. You have big military, yes, but that don't mean you can take on the whole world one time. You understand?
Right.
So everything. All right, let's look at them now. Go back up to verse 8.
The book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her.
All right. There are plagues coming one day. Death, mourning, famine. That death, mourning, famine, when it's like that, that is normally war, right?
Mm.
And the word that they are using now is a trade war. But drop down to 11.
Verse 11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore.
So everybody used to ship to America. So him coming now with a 10% tariff. And that is if him can really do that. But knowing Trump, he will do it out of arrogance and pay the price later.
Right.
He did it already in the first presidency.
Mm.
When him leave office, a lot of lawsuits coming to the government. They have to pay out money. But what he is trying to do is to bring back, because what the media are not showing, is the millions of poor white people that has been created because of globalization. Right? Meaning, especially China. China is the biggest is a global producer right now.
Right.
But because, and then again, it was when they were shipping all the productions from America to China, the Chinese never did know how to make the things ever. It's them pull up their industries in America, move their production to China for cheaper wages, teach the Chinese them how to make the things. And then the Chinese basically kick them out, or not necessarily kick them out, but start to produce the same things under a different name.
Right.
And force them out of business. And then now, I remember there was a time when Chinese couldn't make no car. And now they have, as a matter of fact, they are even looking at the electric car. They are poisoning themselves to dominate the electric car industry. So, but Trump being a businessman, him seeing all these things,
Yeah.
and him trying to stop it from now. But it is in him trying to stop it that is going to push the war. The war that is going to come is not between we and Babylon, It's Babylon and them other countries. We know it's just that it's going to benefit we, because him is also our oppressor.
Right.
So when him gone, we don't have any oppressor. All right. Now this I mean, it look good for us. But
yeah, I see everything on par, everything on track. So
yeah.
it's just a brothers and sisters again, for this family to lock in. So, and as you say, the warning day, and there's nothing to take slight, because without, as you say, just as the Lord say, the Lord will never destroy a city without a warning, and this is why we continue to bring that warning and continue to echo out.
Yeah. So I mean, we're really looking back at, but whenever he tumbles, guess what? Now you won't be able to get a pants from China. So what you going to have to do?
And make your pants.
You got to make your pants.
Make your pants.
You're not going to have fast food restaurants in the place. No burger. Well, in Jamaica, Burger King.
Yeah.
So no more Burger King, no more KFC.
Yeah.
You
Cook your
name it, brand, fast food. So what you're going to do now?
cook your food.
Cook your food and turn to your local restaurant.
Yeah. Mm.
Right. And you won't be able to get the cheap importation of meats. Them imported chicken and imported goat and imported beef and those things, you won't be able to get them. So what you do?
Mm.
You have to turn to your local farmers.
That's right.
And we don't look at this. You know the only you know why the Brits were able to dominate the world with agriculture. Guess.
Mm.
Agriculture is our blessing. Yeah.
Mm.
So we were able to put in the work in agriculture and put out the produce. It's just that we weren't reaping the benefit. The next man was reaping our benefit. But that was all. That is the British Empire show you how successful we as Israelites are in planting. And you're seeing it same way in America through the Mexicans and Hispanics who work in the agriculture over there. So imagine we doing all that now for ourselves.
Right.
We have the land in the Caribbean here to do the planting, you know. But you growing some chickens here in Jamaica, you have a nice big chicken coop, and you can grow 1,000 chickens in it. But the price that you're going to sell it for now, let's say you're going to sell it at $300 a pound, Jamaican dollar. While a meat shop can import it and sell it at $200 or $250.
Yeah. And it's like, and you see like how we thinking that. That's why we tell brothers and sisters, you know, or they come on the chat, you know, because again, this is that discussion. There's that, as you say, a family discussion. Join in, you know, because everything that we bringing out, because, you know, a lot of brothers and sisters, you know, viewing the live in the Caribbean, you know, they jump on the chat, bring all the questions, you know, bring join the conversation, because now Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, as we say, we face, you know, the same challenges daily. As we say, we mightn't be close to one another. When I mean close to one another, because now, as I say, just a landmass or water separate us, you know, in this society. And, you know, us being, you know, far distant or far-fetched away from understanding truth. This is why the ISUPK under commanding General YAHANNA, you know, is here. So we tell brothers, oh, come up on the chat, come up on the conflict zone. You know, if you're in the Caribbean, Jamaica, Trinidad, or the type in the chat, you know, ask all the questions, you know, bring, you know, what you're seeing going wrong or what taking place in the community, because now, as you say, we talking about community, we talking about, you know, as you say, we call it again the cottage industry. Yeah. We talking about that. Or come up on the chat, you know, because now all brothers and sisters will always, you know, delve and dive into all kind of, let me say, foolishness in the aspect that, you know, looking for some that would not help or support the Black community, and then cry, you know, to our oppressor and seek help, not knowing that his help is from you, because when you cry to him, he get more, as you say, he get more, let me say, power to himself to continue to keep you on the plantation. But when you move away, you know, with the solution that, you know, Commanding General and I continue on, you know, from righteous black men passed down to make black people, or Hispanic people, Native Indian people aware of the high value importance of separation. This is why, you would understand and you would see what it means, to have a tribe, or what it takes to thrive in this society by you being separated and, having your own, as a people and as a nation. And this is why it's so important that conversation like these, brothers and sisters should join in. Don't just look on, join the chat. Drop your 2 cents in the chat, as we say, you know, drop your comment, because it's important as well. Because don't watch, as we say, our oppressor, he doing where he does get all kind of million, 10 million views, this view, that view, because why? He supporting one another. So now the time that we in is the black people now to support one another. And we've been seeing this since 1969. Since the truth, started circulate back amongst, the Lord showing mercy and, letting all that spirit again for black people to understand who he is today in this society.
Right. So, we can position ourselves as blacks, Hispanics, and Native to benefit from a lot of the fallout. I would my fallout or happen with what is with Trump, under Trump, fallout with other nations, and they say what drop off head, drop on shoulder. You better make sure they're right under the shoulder where you can start benefit. But it come back to our leaders now. But they will be forced now to look locally within their countries for a solution. The solution now gonna be out there again, because prices gone way over head out there, so you can't go look out there again.
Right.
But we locally now can position ourselves to benefit from a lot of them fallout, because while they are warring, it's not we warring, So while they are warring and ship can't sail on the sea because they have a war, China can't send nothing in America because him go and invade Taiwan. Which he will him go have to do it,
Yeah.
Because China, the Taiwanese them and them a manufacture the ship them what we going at the missiles, And if you notice the new missile that Putin introduced into warfare now, it has never been used in any war. But you see, they bomb them drop like lightning. It's Chinese, they make the chip them, And then now, probably within the next 10 years, you're going to have air defense system that can intercept those missiles. Yeah, but at the same time, Taiwanese them have to go make the chip them. So what China trying to do now is to control Taiwan, so that when the trade war between him and America come to a physical war, him don't have the Taiwanese them supplying the Americans them with the chip to destroy him. So I'm going to have to bring Taiwan under his control for the purpose of him and Russia and BRICS, to the BRICS alliance to survive. But I mean, we in the truth know that none of them not going to survive, but in their eyes, the hope, because a man who think of going into war with the next man don't think that he's going to lose, Yeah, when you decide to invade the next country, you don't think that you are going to lose. That's why you go and invade. If you know you're going to lose, you're not going to invade, So when those wars kick off, and the losing start. Wars always, it brings famine. The Revelation, you see what it's about famine. It's all food up. No, this is when we read Revelation. This is the part where astonished me now, sir. Look at how food is in the world, especially in the West here, in abundance, you know.
Right.
Great abundance.
Right.
And yet still, when it comes to the destruction of Babylon, it tells us famine. So think of moving from abundance to nothing in a short time.
Right. It happening, and we've seen it. We've seen it before. We've seen it before we eyes. As you say, brothers, it is like, you know, trying to turn a blind eye to something, but the more you try to turn, is the more, as you say, that hammer come down on you. Is the more the press start to come down. It start to come down on you, because now you know, as you say, you're caught between the rock and a hard place.
No, a really tough place.
So you between that now, and hear the thing about it now. The Lord always make provision for you to come out of that place. And if you do adhere to the instructions, then what will happen? Then that place will come and it will crush you. And that is America. That is America. Right? So
yeah. Now, if it, all right. How many of our people in America remember how to plant? How many of our people in America remember how to raise animals? This is Egypt 2.0. In Egypt 1.0, way back in Moses' time, we had cornered the sheep industry. How much of us even know what a sheep really look like?
right. And so like, yeah, one more thing. You see, like how, as we say, what we had to do, as we say, because, you know, brothers and sisters will be tuning in. You know, if they want, let me say, they want more information, or they come on to the school, or come on the live, right? And you know, we could go on, because now it's like the information here, the truth here. So now we like what we doing now, as you say, we have our time to work with, or we working with this time now in sharing the truth as much as we could, because right now throughout the ISUPK, if you go on certain, there are different locations or different, as we say, because we scatter through the four corners of the earth, right? Continue to share the truth. Now, if you're on this platform now, let me say within that time, if you we go more, or they come up and like the page, share the page, have a conversation with us, right? And it's like, you know, we telling brothers and sisters, hey, we continue to teach, but hear the thing about it now. Just at the scriptures and all say this, it have a certain time where, you know, this truth, you know, you'll be searching faith. So when brothers, as we say on this platform, we will do what we had to do. But if you want, as I say, to join in, no problem. We will work with the time. Because now what we doing, we just utilizing that time right now, because now it's like we teaching here, we teach for that hour, and if brothers and sisters want more, well, they come up. Because now the conversation that we have in here now, it is with brothers and sisters, you know, who listening on the live, who on as you say, in the chat room. But how we gonna know all in the chat room? How we gonna know all on the live? Well, they come up on the live. Or as we say, ask questions. Because now we could go on here whole night, you know. We could talk here whole night. But now we talking here whole night now, and you know, make it interesting. When I say make it interesting, or they come up, you know, and
ask question.
ask questions.
When they ask question, then you will have a feel of where our people is at, and you'll be able to point your teaching in that
Right.
to where they're at.
That's
When we
right.
sit down and talk, we're actually talking at our level,
Right.
and we could be talking over their head
That's right.
because
So,
we are seeing way further than
mm-hmm.
many of them are seeing now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because as far as them concerned, Trump is as far as they are concerned, Trump is a racist man
Mm-hmm.
who is going to deport a lot of the Hispanics and so on.
That's right.
But there's another side to it
That's right.
because that's what we're talking about, the trade wars and so that
Mm-hmm.
is going to start.
Right.
How can we benefit from the fallouts?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean we need to benefit we need to when Moses carried the Israelite from Egypt, I know dead people, it wasn't about carrying out dead people.
Right.
It was about carrying the living. So we need to stay alive.
That's right.
And one of the ways we stay alive is to look for the opportunities. Jump on it.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
Because we're going to see some things where we never know that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And another Trump there because if you notice, if you following the news, you know, it's like all of Europe or everywhere is just scared of this man.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just scared of him.
Mm.
But I mean, we know better than to be scared of him. The most I put him there now.
That's right.
When you look at the victory that him get,
Mm.
surprise even himself. Yeah, it's the most I put him there.
That's
All
right.
right, so when we come up on the time, we not even get to talk about the next stage of the business
Yeah.
plan. We're going to touch it again.
Right.
We come way up on the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to push out. So, you know, can pick up again next week as, you know, there's so many things to talk about in the
Right.
cottage industry,
That's
which
right.
we can, when him talk about make America great again, this is how we can make blacks, Hispanics, and natives great again, you know, bringing back
That's right.
our cottage industry because we are dominated that amongst our people.
That's right.
Yeah, man. They destroy our cottage industry so that they could destroy us financially,
Mm.
and them own the corporations.
Mm.
You know, no blacks, Hispanics, and natives owning no corporation. Who own them? The Indians, the Chinese, the whites, the Arabs, you know, other nations.
Yeah.
So most I ever bring back things for we.
That's right.
Yeah, man. Most I God, the most I look about when we leave. Remember when we leave Egypt back in the days, you know, we didn't leave empty handed. Back in Moses' time,
That's right.
we didn't leave empty handed, and we left with a lot of skills.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Yeah. All right. So
Yeah.
until next time,
That's right.
you know, Shalom. Yabashim Yashai Barakatah. This is the conflict zone. I'm Officer Abadawan of Jamaica, and we have Officer Sawap 5000 from Trinidad. Even though I'm not in Trinidad now, that's your business. All right. So, you know, Shalom until next time, right here on the conflict zone.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yabashim Yashai Barakatah.
Yeah. Yabashim Shakta.
millions of my access. Should a murderer go to jail for murdering? Absolutely. Should a thief go to jail when he steals? Absolutely. Should a robber pay back the money he robbed? Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did? That's right.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacle set in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never our home. Only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe the slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting. The trail of my tears is countless. The fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Crack in the sky, nuclear missiles and make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be. Slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cage and safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash. Get resolved for the beast. 144, get the brutal show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
Look, ain't no remorse in my blood slim. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember YAHANNA's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in his body, you fit the Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback to bitch in his dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is served cold, I just hope they make an oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in a world of mad shooters. Devils design fire for our babies to pass through it. And the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a